showered upon each and every one of you. What's going on, people? Here we are again. It is another drive time. Honestly, it seems like just yesterday I was here with you. Actually, I was here with you yesterday, so not a great joke. But it's 5 p.m. Oh, it's just gone 5 p.m., which means it's another interesting, informative, thought-provoking drive time discussion. And joining me in the studio today, I am very excited, very curious, and eager to learn more about what this group of brothers and sisters are doing. I have got Green Guardians joining me in the studio. I've got Sister Aamenah Patel and Sister Habibah Lunat. Assalamu alaikum, sisters.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Listen, first of all, Jazakumullah khair for giving us some of your time. I know Ramadan is especially busy for our mothers and sisters and coming in to talk about Green Guardians. So let's start from the top and just tell our listeners what are Green Guardians, who are the Green Guardians, and what is it you do? I will start with you as the founder.
Green Guardians Leicester are a group of Muslims living in Leicester who want to lead cleaner and greener lives closer to our religion. That's basically who we are in a nutshell.
Okay, Habibah, would you like to add anything to that?
So I've always been passionate about climate issues and environmental issues, and I was really pleased when Aamenah got in touch with me to let me know that she was thinking of forming this group, and I was overjoyed and jumped at the chance to join the group. So to make it more official, because I felt as Muslims it's something that's not at the forefront of everybody's priorities, whereas our faith, if you look at the life of our Prophet ﷺ, everything, he was an embodiment of mercy for the universe, for all creation. And creation includes everything around us, everything Allah has created. So, to bring that information at the forefront for Muslims to embrace. So I hope that, as Green Guardians, that's something that we can educate our community.
Okay, great stuff. So for the next 45 minutes or so, we are going to be talking about everything green and good. So just to recap, Green Guardians is a group of Muslims from Leicester who are trying to lead more environmentally friendly and sustainable lives in alignment with the teachings of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, ladies and gents, if you have got a question for the sisters, text us on 077 488 55055. But before we begin with the first question, just want to make a special announcement to all the listeners. As part of the run-up to Eid, Ramadan Radio is supporting the Children's Hospital by raising money to buy Eid presents for all the children who will unfortunately and sadly be spending Eid day in the hospital. So if you have got a young person or a child in hospital, or you know someone, this is the perfect time to get involved and donate some money as part of a fundraising drive to put a smile on these little youngsters' face during Eid. Just think about all the presents you're going to get and think about those children who are in hospital. So if you want to go to justgiving.com/fundraising/Ramadan-radio and you can donate there. Right, so back to the Green Guardians. So Aamenah Patel, you are one of the founders. I would like you to explain exactly when and why and how it all started. And what was the moment, the trigger point where you just felt, you know what, I need to do something?
Yes, so we formed last February, so February 2021, and it was quite an embarrassing start. I'll tell you why. I was invited to speak at a climate conference, a virtual climate conference for Leicester, I think December 2021. 2020, I can't remember the date now.
2020,
Everything's a blur since COVID.
Yes.
And I was on a panel with other faith representatives. I was a Muslim representative, and I had to speak about the Muslim or the Islamic perspective on the environment. And it was the most attended event of the entire conference. Over 200 people tried to enter the Zoom room, so it was really, really popular. And I was asked one question, and it was, what is the local Muslim community actively doing to tackle climate change? And I really had to rack my brains, and I couldn't think of a single tangible answer for that question. And it was, I can't remember what I actually said, but it was something really, really basic and not very green at all. Something like, we try to reduce our food waste. And then throughout the panel, all the other panelists were referring to their groups that they were part of, like EcoSeek, Hindu Climate Action, other Christian groups. And I just remember thinking, I'm not part of any group. And
Where are we? Yes.
Where are we? And as Leicester Muslims, we are one of the biggest faith groups in Leicester. but we're not doing anything for the environment. So I think it was that moment I realised I need to do something. I personally know so many other people who are green inclined, like Habibah, and other people, and friends and family. And I thought, why not come together to actually bring about action, so our voices become stronger, and we can actually bring about change. So that's how Green Guardians came about, alhamdulillah.
And Sister Habibah, when did you jump on board?
So I actually did join that Zoom partly. Oh, yes. I do remember. And it was soon after that Aamenah contacted me that she was thinking of creating this group, and I didn't need to think twice. I was on board straight away, because I've always felt it was something that was needed, but it was something that I didn't have in me to initiate myself. So I'm so glad that Aamenah, with the young blood, something she's initiated, and I'm behind them all the way.
Great stuff. So what sort of initiatives or activities has the group done since its inception?
So I think we formed during COVID. So the first few months we were just entirely on social media, just pumping out posts, information, advice about how people can make small changes. And then once restrictions were lifted, we slowly started going out and doing really basic litter picks at Spinney Hill Park, Humberston Park. We did one last week on St Saviour's Road. And so we've been...
That must have been hard work, litter picking.
Yeah. We'll tell you about that later.
Okay.
But so we've been litter picking mostly. We've done small events at City Retreat, and inshallah we're hoping to do more with masajid and madrasas in the future. I think mostly our presence is on social media, so providing really informative posts about how people can bring about small but meaningful change in their lives.
Okay, so before we go to the next question, I did see something recently on my WhatsApp up about a green iftar. Is that something you guys are involved with?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, tell us more about that.
So that's happening tomorrow, inshallah, at the City Retreat. It's a green iftar, so we're having no meat. We're hopefully cutting down on all single-use plastics, so no plastic bottles, no plastic plates or spoons. And we try to, support local businesses and in the food that we're providing, inshallah.
You know what? I can just hear all the Muslim brothers scream at the thought of having an iftar with no meat right now. Just thinking, what? How can this be? I'm sure it must be haram not to have meat in an iftar or something like that. So, okay, so that's happening tomorrow. Where's it happening? At the City Retreat?
At the City Retreat. Unfortunately, it is fully booked.
Okay. Well, I'll have to stick to my samosas then. Sorry, I'm just going to have to give that miss. All right, okay, so let's just get back to what we were talking about. So, great initiative. Obviously, great to be aligned with the seerah and the teachings of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But looking at sort of modern, wider society, climate change, the environment, global warming, reduction of carbon footprint, these are now sort of near the top, if not at the top of mainly all of the Western countries' agendas. And do you think this is something now that we as a Muslim community also need to move up the agenda? Because Sister Habibah, you mentioned that, it doesn't seem to be at the forefront of our community's thinking. Now, I'm sure there are other Muslim communities that argue, no, we're doing a bit, but I think it's fair to say generally within the South Asian Muslim community in Leicester, more could be done. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not talked about enough as much as, I don't want to be shut down for what I'm going to say, but in the massages they'll talk about everything but climate change.
Yes.
And climate change needs to be at the top of the agenda, as well as all the other issues as well.
Is there anything in specific which you think needs to be talked about, or a spotlight needs to be shone on in terms of our Islamic responsibility to being green?
Yes, yeah. So, I think as a community as a whole, we need to have a whole overhaul and change, and it's going to be a long time before that does happen.
Absolutely.
But the conversations need to start taking place. How much wastage do we create just in Ramadan? If you look at our masajid, iftar every day, a plastic bottle, or everybody is given a bottle of water to
break the fast. Yes.
And alhamdulillah, it's a great virtue to give something to drink to a fasting person. But that plastic bottle, we say it's going in the recycling bin, but most of the time it doesn't get recycled. And plastic takes ages to break down. Whereas what's wrong with everybody bringing their own reusable bottle of water? the masjid can still provide the dates. They're still going to get the whoever's donated, they will still get the reward for giving
Yes,
the dates.
yes.
So it's simple things like that. When we have weddings, how much plastic do we use? Plastic plates, plastic cups,
Cutlery,
plastic cutlery,
covers, all
just
those things, yes.
just all ends up in the bin. So we've become such a disposable society, and we're so worried about what people will say.
What they think, yes.
If I don't serve meat, what's wrong with having a vegetarian day? We've brought our children up to need to eat meat every single day.
Yes.
And that's the fault of us as parents. We need to change it's going to be a long time, but once that conversation.
But you have to start somewhere, right?
Absolutely. And the waste is the main thing, because we're told in the Quran to the nearest meaning that eat and drink of what Allah has provided you, but do not be wasteful. And a person who is wasteful they're described as the brothers of the shayateen. How much do we waste? Fast fashion, food. The list is endless. So we've become such disposable societies that sometimes our children will take something out to eat, they don't like it just ends up in the bin. We overconsume, we buy in stock, it goes out of date, ends up in the bin.
I hope my kids are listening.
They break something, it's fine, it's okay, we'll get another one, we'll get something else.
That's really important, because as a man of a certain age, and being born and bred in Leicester, I remember a time where things like the halal food restaurants and outlets were very sparse and scarcely available. So therefore, going to school, I was a vegetarian option meal and eating that. And I think now we've completely done 360, and it's everywhere. You throw a stone and it lands outside a burger place or whatever it is. And I think, and I have to agree, that we've become a society of excess, a community of excess. There's so much that we are indulging in. And I'm not saying, rightly or wrongly. I just think you're right. And I have actually started, giving more thought about, what if I did go to a vegan lifestyle or a vegan diet or this, that, and the other, and things like that. But going back to the masajids and the community centres and the groups that we have here, are you doing any collaborative work, or have you reached out to any of the ulama or any of the groups to say, hey, why don't you work together, and why can't you become a green certified masjid?
Yes, we have. We did that last year. We have again this year with our particular Refill Ramadan campaign, which is encouraging all masajid to tell their musallis, their attendees, to bring their own water bottle if they can. And that will reduce, I think, thousands of plastic bottles going into landfill each year. The response hasn't been great, in all honesty. I think. Well,
why is that? Is it just kind of fob you off kind of thing, or there are some sort of eco warriors just banging on our door and we'll just?
I think it's a mixture of things. I think the first thing is lack of, understanding of why of the climate change, how carbon, the carbon, all the gases, all that. People really not understanding the science behind it, so not really seeing why it's so important and not really being aware of the earth that's actually heating up. The second thing is it's become so normal. And the thing is, there's many people out there who generously donate these water bottles every single year. And as Habibah said, it's a very charitable act. But we need to kind of now think of better solutions. So can these donors instead, can they donate water coolers to masajid, which is a far more sustainable approach? Can they donate reusable bottles, which the masajid can then sell, for a profit for their own centres? So we just need to think of more sustainable and more efficient ways of giving water to musallis. So I think the masajid which we have engaged with this year are the Peace Centre. They've put up our posters. So we've given posters to masajid, and so the ones which have put them up are Peace Centre, Oadby Mosque. I think Darul Arqam might have. The rest, a really, really terrible response, unfortunately.
No. So going beyond the Muslim community, and I'm just thinking, as you've been talking, you have to excuse the beeps outside. This is live radio. What can you do? That's really so. I'm thinking, right, as an organisation, are you a registered charity? Are you looking to sort of get some income? Because there could be a way where maybe you go and you assess a masajid and say, right, this is your green criteria, and if you meet all this, then we give you like a little badge or a plaque or something that you say, you know, we're an accredited green guardian or whatever it is. And then can you incentivize those organizations as a result of that to do that? Because it kind of feels like what's in it for me is probably what they're thinking, isn't it?
That's certainly in the pipeline, inshallah. We're still a voluntary community group looking to register within the next few months, inshallah, as a charity.
Okay, so fantastic, and inshallah, all the best with that. Sister Habibah, I wanted to ask you, who's part of the group? How many members do you have? And is it just sisters who are doing this work?
No, we've got brothers on board as well, albeit very few. Majority of us are sisters. I think, I can't give, off the top of my head, I can't give a count of how many members. I think about
Around 30, 40.
about 30, 40, yes. Yeah, we're slowly growing as words getting out. The brothers that we have got on board, they are active, and it's good to have the brotherly perspective as well.
Okay, so brothers, if you're listening, check out Green Guardians. How have you got a website?
We've got an Instagram page. Or to join our group, all you have to do is go into our Instagram, which is Green Guardians Leicester. Click on the Linktree link in our bio, and then you should be able to join our Telegram channel, inshallah.
Okay, so check out Instagram, check out Telegram, and what was the other one? Facebook, wasn't it?
Yes.
Facebook. All right, guys. And brothers, please get involved, find out, and at least let's try and change our mindset and start somewhere, and inshallah the momentum will carry on from there. So going back to personal responsibility around sustainability and the environment, what are the practical tips that you'd like to give our listeners on where they can start? Where's the first point of call for them?
So, should we give one each?
Yes, let's do that.
So I'll start off with transport. So I know we're all addicted to cars, but all petrol guzzlers in our community. If you can set one day to be a car-free day of the week, that would be a good starting point. And then think about the journeys you're making. So if you're, I think most journeys in Britain which are made by car, are fewer than 2 miles or 5 miles, something crazy like that. So think, am I driving to the Tesco, which is around the corner? Am I driving to the mosque, where I could walk to 5 times a day?
Yes, that's a big one. That's a very big one.
And at the same time, blocking people's driveways and causing harm on the road. So reconsider your journeys. And if you can, car share, cycle or walk. That's the first thing I'd say. Transport is one of the biggest contributors to climate change right now.
I'm just going to add one thing to what you said about transport. There was a time when myself and my husband, we used to share cars, share the car. And there was a point where I was doing the drop-offs and pickups, and he was doing a lot more walking. And he said, you know, this feels so much more stress-free.
It does, doesn't it?
You know, being able to not worry about finding a parking, walking, you know. And sometimes we see driving as a convenience, but it's actually, you know, that road rage, that traffic, you don't realize the stress that you're causing to yourself, whereas if you
and that's an impact on your own mental well-being and your own health.
Yeah, and imagine if you can walk to the masjid, you know, of every salah, not only are you for your mental well-being, your health as well, you know, getting those steps.
That's a big thing. As somebody who lives right outside a major masjid in Leicester, I'm sometimes very surprised to see why people bring cars, and mashallah, you know, our community is quite wealthy, so they don't bring small cars, they're all quite big cars. But also, why is there not any car sharing encouraged to come to the masjid? Any other tips? Go on, Aamenah.
I wanted to add the point about big cars, because that's one of my biggest bugbears.
Is it?
Yes. I'm going to say quite bluntly, if people are living in the city, they do not require a 4x4.
Yes.
Simply put, okay, these juggernauts are really good at, number one, so they're designed really inefficiently. They're not very aerodynamic. So that's the first thing. So they pollute more than the average petrol car. Number two is they're very good at killing children. If you're sitting in the 4x4, the driver's wheel, your actual perception is very little compared to the other petrol car.
Right.
So, and if a child stands in front of your car, you probably can't see them. The third one is, because they're bigger and chunkier and heavier, they require more fuel. Again, burning more dangerous chemicals and gases into our atmosphere. So I'm going to ask all listeners, if you're thinking of buying a new car, please don't consider a 4x4. We don't live in the country, we don't live in farms, we live in cities, we have small roads. These things are taking up space and polluting our roads and also killing children every year.
Excellent common sense advice there from Sister Aamenah. Anything else around
I think I'm going to go for reducing food waste. So in most developed countries, over half of all food waste takes place in the home. In the UK, households waste over 4.5 million tons of food each year. 24 million slices of bread are thrown away in the UK every day. So even if you stopped wasting bread, you could do the same for greenhouse gas emissions as planting 5.3 million trees. So
on that food waste point,
yeah.
have you got a financial number attached to that? For what does that equate to in money? Because I think if you attach money to it, people think, "Oh my God, I'm wasting that much money."
I think that's one point that I forgot to research.
Okay.
Yeah, but 4.5.
But it must be significant. That you know.
Yes. I mean, if you stop wasting bread for one day, it's the same greenhouse emissions would reduce as same as planting 5.3 million trees.
Wow.
Can you imagine? And how much? So I mean, best thing is like make a list, just buy what you need. You know, sometimes we buy things that are on offer and then we bring it home, if we put it into the cupboard or the fridge and we forget the sell-by date or the best-by date's gone, and it ends up in the waste, you know. And even when we're cooking, I think, especially in Ramadan, we sometimes, you know, we say there's a saying, our eyes are bigger than our stomach.
Oh, yes.
Or I want to eat this, or this child wants to eat this, and that child wants to eat that.
Oh, yes, I know that all too
all
well.
these different dishes, and you sit down to eat and you just get full with the dates and the water.
Yeah.
And you know what happens is, oh no, we're not going to have leftovers the next day. And
I need something fresh. I've been fasting all day. Yeah, all that stuff.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with eating leftover food, but another great initiative. I don't know if you've heard of the Olio app. So
Olio,
so it's OLIO, and that's an app where you register on there and you can take a picture of what food you've got left over, post it on there, and it comes up on whoever else has got the app. It comes up on in the people in. So people put down 5 miles, 10 miles, whatever from you, and they can request that food.
Oh wow!
So yes,
just give us the name of the app again, please.
Olio,
OLIO. Okay,
yes.
Folks, if you go check it out.
Yeah, it's a really good app. So even if you've got something in the fridge that's nearly going to come,
expire,
and you know you're not going to use it, so rather than it goes in the bin, you can put it on the app, and you know somebody will probably contact you. Oh yeah, I'll take it off you. You'll come down and collect it from your house. I've even actually used it for quite household items as well, because now it's not just for food.
Okay, yeah, I guess put it there. I've just had a text from one of our listeners. Do you know what types of food are being wasted? The average UK household throws away £60 worth of food a month.
Wow. So
the Love Food Hate Waste campaign has said, and every day in the UK, 20 million slices of bread, 280 tons of poultry, 4.4 million potatoes, and much more are wasted. And that's a report in the Guardian newspaper, February this year. So just to back up what you were saying, Sister Habibah, incredible figures. I mean, £60. I mean, if you think about the current cost of living crisis everyone is going through, £60 is a lot of money.
it is, yes.
You know, that's a weekly shop equivalent to. So that's good. So thank you very much for that information. What would you say, sisters, to like people who've got, say, outdated attitudes towards the environment, who say, oh, you know what, in Islam, we believe the world's going to end and it doesn't matter what you do, that you can't save the world. It's a finite resource anyway, and I'm just going to, you know, do what I can.
Wow. Alhamdulillah, I've never heard those sentiments, but I can see why people would say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. People see environmental issues as something specific for white middle class people and not for us. And remind them of, you know, all the many verses of the Quran. Allah tells us that you have been placed as custodians or the guardians of the earth. They remind them of the Prophet ﷺ's approach to life, of how he, despite having, you know, running water, he would make wudu with minimal water. He would not waste. He wouldn't, you know, harm animals for the fun of it.
Yes.
His entire life was so simple. He'd repair his own clothing. And remind them of that and tell them that, sure, you know, the world is going to end one day, absolutely. But whilst we're on here, we have to try, you know, as the Quran says, tread on the earth lightly and not cause corruption. Allah, you know, always talks about the corruptors in the Quran, and our lifestyles are so, you know, are so corrupt, and, you know, oppressive to others. And I think here the issue of climate justice is really important, because we're so heedless in our own lifestyles. We use so many resources without thinking of how this is impacting others around the globe. Our fellow brothers and sisters from the Ummah in the global south are suffering firsthand as a result of our selfish, decisions made in the West. So people like in Bangladesh, in Mali, there's actually something called climate refugees. Because of the changing weather patterns, they can no longer live and sustain themselves. So they have to move to other countries to support themselves. So we have a thing called climate refugees here. And that's entirely fueled by our selfish lives in the West. So I'd say to these people, think about the Ummah. We're supposed to be one body. Are your actions impacting your other brothers and sisters around the world?
Okay, so you're listening to Ramadan Radio 87.7 FM. I've got the Green Guardians in the studio live, talking about everything good around the climate and being, leading better lifestyles. So if you have got a question for Sister Aamenah or Sister Habibah, please text on WhatsApp 077 488 55055. I know people are listening. I know people are enjoying the show. So Jazakumullah khair once again for coming in. Really enlightening, really informative, speaking to you both. Tell us a bit more about what is climate justice.
So climate justice is something I just talked about just a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
It's the realization that the whole climate crisis, the changing weather patterns, everything, freak weather isn't just environmental. It's tied into so many other issues. It's a social issue. It's a sexism issue. It's a racial issue. It's a poverty issue. There are so many issues tied into the climate crisis. And it's realizing that the people who are the poorest, the minorities, the people who are the most disadvantaged, they are going to feel the effects of climate change firsthand. They are experiencing the effects of the climate change right now as we're speaking. So as I said, people, for example, in African countries, their lifestyles are so simple. They're not wasteful at all. But unfortunately, because of where they're situated, they're experiencing droughts, famines. Their entire livelihoods are destroyed because of our actions in the West, because of the changing weather patterns that they're experiencing because of us. So that's climate justice. It's realizing that my actions are impacting others around the globe.
Anything you'd like to add, Sister Habibah?
No, I think Aaminah's she's rounded it up quite well there, but we do really have to think about how we're behaving with regards to the environment. And with regards to your last point, what you said about, somebody saying that, the world's going to end anyway, but it reminded me, when you actually said that, it reminded me of the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said to one of the Sahaba, I can't remember the Sahabi's name, but even if you know that tomorrow is going to be the day of judgment and you have the chance to plant a tree, go and plant that tree, So, it's just because the world is going to end, that doesn't mean that we stop living or we stop caring. We've still got to do what's our responsibility.
Okay, so going back to your point about climate justice and everything, do you know or can you advise any of our listeners on any particular brands or companies that you would recommend purchasing or supporting from, so that aids that climate justice argument?
I think in terms of brands, I think supporting local is better. So if you can buy local produce and supporting small local businesses, that's always better than, giving money to bigger corporations who are the real, the evil ones in this whole thing, the ones who plunder and pollute and who take advantage and corrupt. So smaller local businesses, that is obviously more expensive. So just, I think for all listeners, take in mind what your budget is and assign money, a little bit of money to local and smaller businesses. I think that's what I'd say.
I think I wouldn't go talk about brands or supporting, but I would encourage people to start what they can, growing their own food and vegetables where they can. And it's a good initiative, I think, to do with the children, to actually plant the seeds, watch it grow, and then to harvest that. And even if it's a simple thing like potatoes and carrots and tomatoes, and it's teaching the children where your food comes from. And I think that's where my love for and my awareness of the environment came from, where as a child my dad I remember him teaching me how to plant potatoes.
That must have been so satisfying.
As a child, I just found it so amazing how my dad, the potato had grown tubers, and we put it into the ground, and I'd watch it grow, and then at the end we'd harvested this whole load of potatoes, and that memory is just so vivid, and I still really enjoy it. And it says for your mental health as well, to actually, because we're made from the earth, when we do play and use the soil, touch it, that connection we get with the earth as well, it's really satisfying. Simple things like that to create that awareness with our children.
So on that point with children, are Green Guardians at the moment, or are there any plans to run like workshops where you talk or teach or involve some of the youngsters? Because I suppose the ideal target audience would be the youngsters, who've got the fresh minds, who are not sort of opinionated in that respect, where you can sort of bring them in and actually educate them from the beginning, and then they can start implementing those behaviors from an early age right through to adulthood. Because a lot of what we talked about is, it's routine behaviors that we've just used to, and it's convenient for us, and we need to move away from that. So is there anything like that you're working on?
Yes, inshallah. We want to work with madrasas. So if anybody listening works in a madrasa, please get in touch with us. We'd love to do workshops and classes with young children. And also the litter picks we do already are so much fun for young children.
Yes, we have children joining us on the litter picks. And
so when do these take place? When's the next one?
This Sunday,
I believe,
outside Masjid Umar.
Outside Masjid Umar. Okay, I want to send my two out there.
So
then
we went to target Evington Road this Sunday. Yeah. Is it 11 o'clock?
11 o'clock, yes.
Yeah, I think, just on what we've been talking about, one of my big bugbears and frustrations is I live outside Masjid Umar, and I see how our brothers park, and I get angry at them, not because they're parked, because they're inconveniencing somebody who might be in a wheelchair, or a mother needing to cross the road with their pushchair or buggy. But I just feel like we have, because my friend said to me, "Oh, Irfhan, just don't let it affect you. It is what it is." And but I just think we should lead more by an example.
Absolutely.
And I just think this is where I feel a bit let down, that we just small things create a big impact. Is that your feeling too?
Yeah. So if everybody was to make a small change together, we make a big impact. Even if that means like reducing the amount of plastic you use in the house, where you have a choice, where you can buy something that's wrapped in plastic or something that's not, and you go for the object that's not wrapped in plastic. It's going to make a big difference. It's pebbles that build up a mountain. And I think one other point we wanted to talk about is fast fashion.
Yeah, let's go for it. Talk about it.
So how nowadays
the Primarks of this world, yes.
Yeah. So how many items do we buy and then we wear them about one or two or three times, and then we dispose of them.
Yeah.
And that as well has the impact on the people, on the workers in the poor countries that are creating those garments.
The exploitation.
Yes. And we've got no qadr of what we have, that lack of gratitude of what Allah has given us. And all this, that we throw that away, those garments. Remember, when we throw something away, there is no away. It's going to end up.
It has to end up somewhere, doesn't it?
And it doesn't, break down overnight. It takes.
Does it just disappear magically into thin air?
It doesn't. No.
So on that, I mean, those are obviously brilliantly valid points, and everyone would agree. But I think there are some elements of society who would say, how do I marry up my ambition to be more sustainable, to be more green, to be more mindful of what I'm doing, versus the amount of money I have in my pocket? Because as you mentioned, Sister Aamenah, it does cost a bit more to source locally, to be sustainable. I mean, when you go into the supermarket and you see things like the fair trade badge on coffee and tea and things like that, and chocolate, you think, wow, I'd love to buy that, but it's sometimes significantly more expensive than, say, a value branded item or whatever that might be.
So I think it depends on different aspects. So certainly buying eco products is more expensive, but with things like fast fashion, it's actually better for your wallet. So the first thing I'd say is just stop buying. That's the first thing that you
just don't buy it. That's it. Don't go to Fastpark anymore.
Do you really need it? Are you just buying it just because an Instagrammer has posted it and it looks nice? Alhamdulillah, we've got clothes that we can wear that covers. We've got plenty in our wardrobes. Do we really need the latest fashion?
And that's important, because the Prophet ﷺ said in Eid, at the time of Eid that, wear your best clothes.
Yes.
It doesn't have to necessarily be new. Whereas, my kids will be banging on my door saying, Dad, I need some new trainers now. And
then
this,
it's
that.
the same with like when we have weddings coming up. I mean, summer wedding season's coming up. Does it really have to be? I have to have a new outfit.
Oh, you know what my favorite one is? Oh, she's already seen me in that one. She's already seen me in that one. Yeah, get a lot of that.
But I mean, my son's getting married in the summer, inshallah. And
Mashallah, congratulations.
I'm going to ask everybody to wear something from what they've already got. I don't want them to go out and buy
new outfits.
Inshallah, I hope that is something that
Yeah, I hope your son's getting a new outfit though.
Yes, yeah. But I'm really looking into reducing over the week as well. How with the amount of plastics I'm going to use, the food as well, inshallah.
Okay, we're just getting a text in from Sister Wajida, who's listening. Jazakallah for your support, sister. Just to say, keep up the good work, Green Guardians. Can't wait to join you on the litter pick soon, showing how being a Muslim goes beyond prayer and truly a way of life. That's a really important point. It's not just about the namaz and things that we do. It's how we live day to day. Is that salams from the Turkish community, Leicester? Looking forward to seeing you this Ramadan. Is that just come in? No, a bit older. And salams, how are you? I'm very well, Brother Imran. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah for asking. Right, so I got one more question before I'm going to hand it over to you in the last few minutes. So, Alhamdulillah, we're almost halfway through Ramadan now. Can't believe where the time has gone. And why don't you give our listeners tips on having a greener Eid this year?
Okay, so we'll give one each again. So I'd say reduce your meat consumption. So I'm not saying no to meat biryani or anything, but perhaps other side dishes can be something a bit more vegetarian.
Yes.
and just equally delicious, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah. I think I'm going to go with my pet hate is the balloons. Everybody's going to hate me for it, but balloons, the vinyl, they don't break down.
Yes.
They're litter at the end of the day. If you do have to have them, try and source those that are biodegradable. You do get them now.
Where can you get those? Do you happen to know?
I don't have off the top of my head, but you can get them off the internet. I think if you do a search for environmentally friendly balloons or biodegradable balloons. But even then, when they still create litter at the end of the day. I know they're lovely for kids. But if you do have to have balloons, go for the biodegradable ones. Even the decorations as well. See if you can use like natural things like leaves, fresh flowers, rather than plastic and paper. Flowers, they do an equally good job.
Okay, so don't have to buy new clothes if you can't. Reduce meat consumption and think about how you decorate the house during Eid with more sustainable biodegradable materials. Great stuff. So listen, it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you guys. We still got a few minutes left, so don't worry. I'd like to hand it over to you now in terms of giving a call to action, or actually before we do that, what is the goal? What would you like? What do you need to take Green Guardians to the next level?
We need more people to join us. Wherever you are on your eco journey, whether you're new to the conversation, whether you're quite experienced, we want more people to join us to bring about change, inshallah. So please head on to our
And how can they contact you if they're interested in joining?
Head on to our Instagram page, DM us, or you can access the link in our bio, the link tree, and it'll take you to our Telegram, inshallah.
Okay. Anything else from you, Sister Habibah?
No, I mean, that's what we need. We need that conversation to be taking place more and more. Even if it's like one person in the family starts it off and they go home and start making the change, it's going to be a big difference,
And what's the call to action to our community leaders in particular?
Wake up. wake up.
Wake up, yeah.
Wake up. And of course, it can be quite a scary place to navigate if you're not aware of the climate change and the science behind it. So please work with us. We want to make our masajid and our madaris, hubs of green activity and really sustainable beacons for other places of worship. We don't want to be the ones lagging behind, because at the moment we're meat chompers, petrol guzzlers. We're so wasteful, but we want to change that and turn it around and be a true model and true followers of the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And the litter as well. If we look at in predominantly areas where we live Muslim, but the amount of litter on the roads.
I think we've got a caller. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Walaikum salam, special one. How are you?
I'm good, Sajid Bhai. How are you? Listen, thanks for your call. What would you like to ask Sisters Aaamenah and Sister Habibah?
I'm listening to the. Hold on, let me turn the radio down 1 second. Okay. The question is, it's an interesting topic about being green, but the question here is, how many people take it seriously in our community? That's the question.
I know what you're going to say. Not enough, right?
Not enough, no.
Not
And this is
enough.
why we're here. We're here to raise awareness and to remind people that this is nothing new. It's part of our religion, something often neglected, and an integral part of our religion, actually. That's why we're here.
Yes. Yeah. And as long as that conversation has started,
Mm-hmm.
you know that you're doing something. Even if it educates one person from this show, that's one extra person that's going to make a change, and hopefully they'll go and talk to somebody else. So conversation is
Absolutely.
where it starts.
So, Sajid, can I ask you, from listening into the Green Guardians, what one thing are you going to implement differently now as a result of what you've learnt today?
Try and be more greener.
Yeah, but how exactly? Are you going to reduce your meat intake? Are you going to start walking more? Have you got any plans?
Obviously, with my eyesight difficulty, I'm restricting what I can do, what I can't do now.
Yes.
But I always try and do all the right things. So, like for example, at work, 2 different bins: the normal bin and the recycling bin. Before, I used to be ignorant and just use the normal bin for everything.
Yes.
But now I've learned how to just basically the things which need to be going in the proper bins. I'm recycling better than I used to recycle before.
Okay. Circle and good luck with that. So please continue, and please tell more people about what the Green Guardians are doing. So is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up the call?
Yeah, I just want to say it's good. It's good that these kind of initiatives are brought on radio.
Yes.
I think the more people are aware, and inshallah, look, at the end of the day, Tawfiq and Hidayah comes from Allah at the end of the day, and the more people know, the better. And inshallah, one day it will be all worth it.
Inshallah, that is the dream. So listen, Jazakallah khair for your call, Sajid, and no doubt we'll speak with you soon.
Inshallah. Take care.
Okay, take care.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. So we've got a couple of minutes left, and I'd like to hand it over to you, Aaamenah. Just sort of use this next minute or so to make a plea, a call for action as to what the aim is, the goal. What would you like? Would you like some donations? Would you like some support? Would you like some collaboration?
Yeah, we want collaboration. We want Masajid to come on board. We want more people joining us for in our group and in our little topics and other events that we're holding in the year, inshallah. And I just want listeners to reflect on how their Eid might be. So think about how they go to the Eid Salah. Are they going in the individual cars? Are they going in one car? Are they sharing? Are they cycling? Are they walking? Just think about a day of celebration, a holy day. How green and how pleasing to Allah can I make it? So can I walk to the Musalla instead? And then when I celebrate with my family, am I going to give them gifts wrapped in plastic and sellotape? Can I give gifts instead in brown paper or just not wrapped up at all? Thirdly, when I have my Eid meal, am I going to have plastic plates and cutlery, or can we actually use normal plates and just wash them this time and put them back?
Put them back in, yes.
Fourth thing is, when I get ready for Eid, am I going to wear a brand new outfit which is never going to be worn again, or can I instead borrow from a friend or family or somebody else? Can I borrow something from their wardrobe? So that's something else to consider. And lastly, when I'm gifting to others, think before I gift. Is it going to be clutter in their house? Is it going to be used? Can I instead plant a tree in their name instead? Can I give something more environmentally friendly? Can I give them something to start their journey, eco journey? So can I give them like a bamboo toothbrush or something along those lines?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so we're running out of time now, but Jazakumullah khair to both of you coming in. It's been wonderful speaking with you and learning more about Green Guardians. I'd like you to come back next year, inshallah, to tell us how you progress. So let's get that in the diary, inshallah, if we're on the air. So folks, that is the Green Guardians. Check them out on Instagram and get in touch and get involved, especially the massages. This is Drive Time with me, Brother Irfhan, and inshallah, all being well, I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, with another interesting guest. Until